Today, I would like to share with you my greatest fear. Now, this has been my fear for many, many years. Many years into my teen years and a little bit before. So, my greatest fear is to not live my life as hunter as best I could for the sake of what is in the world, but also for the sake of my soul. So the last part didn't really come into play until later in my life, as far as my understanding of the soul. But I will say that I've always felt that I will only be hunter once. No matter if I continue on into another body or another form, I will only be this person once. And to deploy this person once as much as possible is to think through the filter that is hunter, but also per- perfect the filter and perfect the filter so that other people can benefit as well. Because I've always had this desire to allow hunter, to want hunter, to be an aid to others along their own spiritual journeys, their own journeys of self identification or self introspection. And later on, I realized that, there are many lifetimes that a soul goes through. And part of my greatest fear is that Hunter will not add enough to it. Hunter will not attribute additional enlightenment to a continuous span of varied enlightenments to a single soul, which is, that's our duty to both kind of advance, but also recognize and understand one's life, whether it be spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, intellectually. There's many different kinds of things that you can do with your life that add to the value of your life and the message that you're trying to proclaim. So you don't have to proclaim the message that other people proclaim. You don't have to meet up to the standards that other people have, but you should create your own standards for life and meet up to those standards so that you're not just living for yourself, but for every single person that's ever had your soul. Once again, this might seem very, reincarnation or multiple so egotistical or specialty. A lot of people don't believe that there's multiple lives, that a soul doesn't inhabit multiple bodies, but I do. So, for the sake of this argument, that is why I am asking you to entertain that idea. Every single life a soul lives, it's never perfect. Well, unless you're very, very good towards the end of your incarnations. But every single expression of a life form, every single expression of that life form within a given set of circumstances, within a given set of cooperations with other life forms, and environment, and the kinds of things that we say to ourselves when we talk to ourselves in our heads, how we understand ourselves, but also the conversations that we have about emotions or other people on the outside. All these things mesh into what can either be a detriment to the soul that is within you or a positive learning experience. Ultimately, everything's learning, but action within and without is what can determine if your life will add great sustenance to the soul that will move on beyond you. Um, Inner talk, that's something that you kind of have to both divide into different categories, but also understand and communicate within yourself and figure out for yourself. But there's a lot of teachers and there's a lot of books that can help you do that, whether it be in Buddhism, whether it be in Hinduism, whether it be in Stoicism. There's plenty of things that you can get that you can hone your internal argument or your internal state in conversation. You can hone that to become a valuable prize, both for your soul but also for the universe, because our consciousness has an effect on the universe. And also, when it comes to external activity, uh, we tend to take up fields of study or relational manner or familial ties or political ideology. We tend to take these things up very easily without thinking about why we did them. My greatest fear is that I will not think enough about something before I take it up. And that should not stop anyone, myself included, from actually making a decision. But people make decisions very recklessly, very intimately, just on the moment. But then later on, they just keep on sticking with it, even if it looks like it was a bad decision. And we as human beings are very fallible. As an individual, I can say that the greatest lessons that I've learned have been encountering obstacles that I did not suspect, and that really made me question how I was walking my path or what my path was. We should not knock aside the questions that we come upon, but we should try to answer them. And if we cannot answer them from our perspective, then perhaps our perspective needs to be changed. And that's what it is, to be a path walker of a spiritual path, philosophical path, religious path, whatever you want to call it. You don't necessarily need to believe in anything supernatural or God in order to walk a path of self-development. But for me, it is very vital, because I do believe that despite not being exposed early on to any kind of supernatural or godlike or spirit-like culture, or I guess I was exposed by my friends a little bit, but family, there we go. We move forward. We dedicate ourselves to our certain ideas based on our value of them or the safety of them. And we try to make a picture of the world within our minds. It isn't easy. It's very hard. Most people, the vast majority of people, do not conceive the world as it is, but rather as they conceive it. So we're all fighting against one another with our conceptions of the world. The world has nothing to do with it, but we fight with conceptions. We fight with religion, dogma, even some spiritual traditions, political ideas. We're all fighting for a world that we think that we understand. We're all fighting for a world, not even the world, but for our understanding of the world, so that it is dominant. But does anybody have any right? And do most people have an understanding of themselves, what they're doing, and why they're doing it? Their connection to that which is beyond. Do they believe in that which is beyond? Or is everything programmed based on the ease that one feels when one is given ideas rather than developing themselves? And that's a great danger, one of the greatest dangers. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been interesting. This has been a quick video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, shoot them down in the comment section below. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. All of you find yourselves and decide for yourselves.